Gauteng Provincial Legislature will be launching their voter education and awareness campaign drive this week. This campaign is aimed at raising awareness about the voter registration process while also encouraging people to vote in the 2016 elections. Well, joining us now in studio is Uhuru. No, you've got to help me now. You told me Uhuru because I reached Uhuru Peak.
Uhuru Moiloa.
There we go, Moiloa. Thank you so much for joining us here, the Deputy Speaker of the Gauteng Legislature, to unpack exactly what this campaign is all about. So good to see you. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, and good morning to the viewers as well.
All right, so obviously we've got this voter education awareness campaign. We've got the registration coming up this weekend, which is it's a big campaign to get people out there to vote. What are you planning on doing?
Definitely it is. 5 and 6 is the day that the people of Gauteng, South Africa, must wake up those 2 days to register as voters. Those that have moved house, definitely they have to re-register in their voting district. So it's an important day in the history of South Africa with regard to local democracy. Citizens must be concerned about who governs them and how are they governed. So it's important to participate in local government elections.
Yeah. I mean, some people downplay local government elections, whereas local government elections are those elections that directly affect your services on a day-to-day level. I mean, these are huge elections, although we tend to see a lower voter turnout for some reason. Are we trying to increase the voter turnout?
Absolutely. The last voter turnout was about 55.7%. That doesn't augur well for a democracy that is, envied by many in the world. We think that there is something probably that we're not doing right as South Africans, or perhaps the generation that brought democracy seems to be complacent now because everything is okay. But it's dangerous for future generations if we do not inculcate the culture of participating in democratic elections, because democratic elections is about how do you settle the scores, how do you settle the differences in society, what are the best ideas that wins the day. So it's important that citizens must take democracy very seriously. So yes, you are worried about low voter turnout, and that is the reason why the Gauteng legislature is devising means and ways of mobilizing the people of Gauteng. On the 1st and the 2nd, we're launching a campaign in Alexander East Bank Hall, really to highlight to the media that the time has come for the people of Gauteng to really go out and participate in a democratic process.
This particular campaign and education drive, you talk about at the launch on the 1st and the 2nd in Alexander. Which other areas are you looking at? And I can't imagine it's just going to be these 2 days. I imagine it's going to happen all the way up to the run-up to the elections.
Well, on the 1st, it's a media campaign. We bring in personalities, we bring in celebrities, we bring in ambassadors, we bring in civil society organizations, institutions supporting democracy, councillors and so on. We bring everybody. So the church, moral regeneration movement, everybody will be there. That is on the 1st. On the 2nd, we're hitting Ward 105 in Alexander. We will actually be doing practical door-to-door work so that we can speak to the people and check who are those whose voting district have changed, who's not registered, who has moved to Gauteng recently and need to be registered.
Yeah. I imagine the IEC are partnering with you on this one. They're going to be joining you on this education drive. How's it going to work?
I actually expected the IEC to be here this morning.
Yes, so did I. Unfortunately, Terry
Mr. Teritzelani said that they've got a press conference this afternoon, so they'll not be able to be part of this interview. We are in partnership with the IEC. We are in partnership with Department of Local Government and Human Settlement in Gauteng. As I said, it's a big partnership. We are in partnership with South African Students' Union, because we'll also be getting to the schools, to the high schools. We've got workshops with the university students, and I think this is the generation that is more crucial to really appreciate that in a democracy you don't have to use violence to sort out your problems. You need to sit around the table. It's a contestation of ideas, and we expect universities to be engaging in rough, robust debates, but in a way that gives society some kind of direction. So we get into institutions of higher learning, further education and training colleges, we get into high schools. We'll be involving learners, for instance, in Education for Democracy project. They'll be getting a debate. I think we'll get about something like 50 schools, 10 children each to participate in a debate and basically debate democracy and say, what is it that is best for South Africa?
I mean, you mention what's going on, just in terms of this robust debate that is needed at universities. Let's just talk for universities for a second. And I mean, we had a very low voter turnout amongst the youth during our general elections. And what we're seeing now at universities and universities coming to a halt around the country, it's, you know, these are scenes that we don't want to be seeing in this new democracy we talk about. And yet there definitely is a huge issue happening. I mean, when we talk about this new democracy, what are you hoping to achieve out of some of the conversations?
The university students are the last stop for the direction that the nation must take. What kind of South Africa we want to be. This is the highest level of learning. And we expect our youth to really begin to appreciate the wealth of the South African Constitution. I don't think the people of South Africa appreciate how powerful our Constitution actually is. If you're a student and you want free education, for instance, as a demand, there is absolutely no reason why you should resort to violence. Yeah. If you want to change anything, if you want the Statue of Rhodes to be relocated somewhere at the University of, you know, whatever university it is, you don't have to break it down. You know, the Constitution provides you with a platform to engage so that both sectors of the society can appreciate, you know, your way of thinking, and you must also appreciate the way of thinking of the others. When we engage, we may as well find out that in actual fact, we may not have to break the statue, because the statue has been there, is part of our history, is part of our country. If you want a statue of somebody else, I'm sure we can negotiate that somebody who's very, you know, valuable in society can be put there. So I'm saying it's an area for serious, you know, intellectual debate, and it's unfortunate that sometimes we tend to sort of violence on issues that are very simple to resolve, you know, to resolve.
Well, we're going to be talking to one of the student representatives straight after this break, but I thank you so much for joining us here in this in the studio, and good luck with the voter education drive.
Thank you very much, Liana. Thank
it's
you for
needed, and South Africans need to get out there. Remember, it's voter registration weekend this weekend. If you've moved or if you've never ever registered, this is your opportunity to do so this coming weekend, and please get down to your nearest voting station and do that. We had in studio with us our Gauteng Provincial Legislature Deputy Speaker, I beg your pardon, Uhuru Moiloa. Thank you so much for being with us. Let's take a break. See you after this.